Welcome to Crime Stoppers Case File Chicago.
Vikki Vukelich was a very dear friend of mine. We just hit it off from the very beginning. She's just a really sweet girl and very loving mother. You know how they say birds of a feather flock together, so we had a lot in common. You know, just the love of children and the outdoors. And we went to the beach, to the parks. Always it was with the children. We were both single mothers. We each had a child, and they were a year apart. She was very close to her daughters, and she was really having a good time with the little one because we could really enjoy the children. We were older, you know. It was really cute, you know. Her 4-year-old would put her high heels and then clink around the house in them and play dress up. We just stayed such good friends all the time. Just a good person, beautiful inside and out.
In September of 1995, the Glenwood Police Department requested the assistance of the Illinois State Police to investigate the disappearance of Vikki Vukelich from her residence in Glenwood. She originally disappeared on February 23rd, 1991. That day was a normal day for Vikki, where she'd gotten up, went out, and applied for a waitress job. The next day, she already had planned to take her 2 daughters, Jill and Ashley, to church to join church that day. When she got home after the interview, David and her got into a major argument in reference to what was going to happen the next day. The major argument was over church and a party that David wanted to go to. We were informed that on the night this happened, everybody remembered tonight because they said there was a loud argument going on in the late afternoon between Vikki and her husband. They said they could continuously hear her screaming, "David, leave me alone, David, leave me alone." Approximately about 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, they said they heard a loud scream, very horrible scream, and it was quiet from then on. One of the neighbors who lived on a different block said that the scream he heard was so bad that he put his clothes on and ran around the corner to see what was going on. He said when he got around there, all he saw was a white vehicle leaving the area, but he didn't have his glasses on, so he wasn't able to give us a good description of the vehicle or the person possibly driving the vehicle. No one has seen her or heard from her since that date.
She had called me the day of her disappearance. It was a Saturday. She called me from work. She owned her hair salon, and she said, "Mary, I got a bad feeling about today. I don't want to go home. I'm scared." I said, "Honey, if anything happens in the house, just call the police." And then we talked briefly about she was going to get a divorce, and she was going through it this time. She had filed, and Monday she was going to a local restaurant in Calumet City for a second job. She's going to waitress to bring in some extra income. So I said, "Okay, remember, honey, if something happens in the household, please just call 911. And we ended the call. I hadn't heard from her after that, so I figured everything was fine. And I want to say I got a phone call probably Wednesday of the next week. And it was a mutual friend of ours. And she said, "Hey, have you heard from Vikki?" And I just threw the phone down. And I was sitting in the floor just crying. And this mutual friend said, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "What happened? What did you hear?" She said, "Well, she didn't show up for the job. She was helping her get it. And no call, no show. And you know, that's not like Vikki." I said, "No, it's not." And I really didn't talk too much more about that. And I hung up. And I said, "That's it. It's done. You know, she's gone."
Have you been in an accident? Have you been the victim of discrimination or had your rights violated? Have you been injured? If so, the lawyers at Hale Law would love to talk to you. We offer a free consultation. Call me, Andy Hale, 312-870-6926. 312-870-6926. I look forward to talking with you about your case.
The Illinois State Police was requested to assist with the Glenwood Police Department in September of 1995 to assist in the case of Vikki Vukelich. She had been reported missing in February of 1991. No one has seen her or heard from her since that date.
You know, you don't disappear. This is February 23rd. She didn't have a vehicle. Where do you go? I mean, she put the children to bed at night, which the 12-year-old told me. So you just disappear after that? It's impossible.
Her first time she was reported missing was by a friend of hers, Mary Priscilla, on March 2nd, 1991.
I went to the Glenwood Police Department. I said I want to file a missing persons report. He said, well, who are you? You're not a relative? Her husband, somebody would have filed. I said, no, I have to. They took it. They said that they didn't know how legal it would be. Then after that, her husband filed one after they called him and got a hold of him.
He came in on March the 5th for the first time. And in David's account, what he said to the Glenwood Police Department, he said it wasn't a major argument or anything, and that he went to bed around 10 o'clock and he didn't know what she did, but he knew that when he woke up, there was a bottle of wine that had been drank and she was gone.
And I just kept going to the police department, telling them what I suspected and what I feared, and that she wasn't going to be back. Somebody seen something, someone did something.
The area that Vicki and David resided in was a residential area. Approximately each home probably was no more than 10 to 15 feet from each other. The screams heard were not only on the block that they resided on, but even the blocks across the way, whereas one of the individuals we talked to on a different block said that the scream he heard was so bad that he put his clothes on and ran around the corner to see what was going on. He said when he got around there, all he saw was a white vehicle leaving the area, but he didn't have his glasses on, so he wasn't able to give us a good description of the vehicle or the person possibly driving the vehicle.
I just constantly kept it going. I couldn't stop. You know, and it was trying. It was hard on me, and I had children to take care of, but that was my priority at the time because my Vicki was gone, and we're supposed to grow old together. And what about her children? Where's Mommy? Nothing made sense. And nobody was trying to help me make sense of it either. It was just, oh, she's gone. No, and we're supposed to carry on. That's not the way it is. There's got to be some people that know. There's no need to be afraid of something or someone. Let that fear go and just give some closure to these children, to her loved ones, to yourselves. Because you people are the ones that have to live with it, knowing something, so just let it out. It's time.
Vicki was a very nice individual who took care of her daughters, loved her daughters, and if there's anybody who was in the area, heard anything or saw anything, saw the white vehicle and can assist in this investigation, we'd appreciate if you would contact Special Agent Starlene Wilson with the Illinois State Police at 847-294-4600. Again, that's 847-294-4600. Any information would be helpful in this case. Even the smallest amount of information could be the linchpin that opens the floodgates for information to come in. We'd appreciate, and the family would appreciate, any assistance in bringing this case to some resolution so that they can have some resolution and some peace in their own life at this time.
It's bad enough she was taken from us. Her children need to know, hey, my mom didn't walk away. My mom didn't disappear. My mom loved us, and something tragic happened.
If you know anything about any of the cases you see here tonight, give our detectives a call. Every tip is important. We need to bring justice for our families and help clean up our communities. Thank you for joining us in our fight to solve crime.
Tune in next week to another episode of Crime Stoppers Case Files Chicago.